What's up, everyone? Shaman Sean Patel. Just got done watching Gary Antuanne Russell retain his WBA super lightweight title against Andy Hiraoka. Good fight, tense fight. Started slow, pockets of not a whole lot of action, and that favored Gary Antuanne in the long run. That slow start where Hiraoka was kind of just trying to bait him into one left hand at a time. And Gary Antuanne was showing him there's levels to this. You're not going to be able to just sucker me into a left hand. And what he did is slowly give ground in the center of the ring, round after round in those first couple rounds. And then Gary Antuanne, it wasn't super effective. It wasn't the cleanest, greatest work in the world. But what he would do is get him to the ropes eventually. And he won those early rounds with ring generalship, being very patient, not getting really to do what he likes to do best, which is press with volume, press with a lot of pressure. But Gary Antuanne showed his intelligence in this fight. And remember, he was like top of his class in high school, valedictorian or something. Well, that paid dividends in this fight because Andy Hiraoka can fucking punch. And so he couldn't just apply that pressure. There's a lot of landmines waiting for him. Andy Hiraoka, with that wide base and his power, had his left hand cocked, waiting for him to run into something. And Gary Antuanne said, no, I'm not going to do that. So it was started slow. It wasn't a lot of action. And Gary Antuanne would nibble in spots, get him, shoe shine him on the ropes, touch his body, and accumulated points, accumulated rounds early by doing that. Then big momentum swing. Really the biggest moment of the fight for either fighter was Andy Hiraoka in round 7 or 8, just withering body shots. All he was doing was really fighting off his 1 and his 2. What's up, brother? And fighting off his 1 and his 2 at long range. And eventually he mixed up the punch selection. He started digging to the body, nasty with the right hook, with the left hand. I mean, beautiful body work, and hurt Gary Antuanne Russell in the 7th round. Hurt him, not as dominant in the 8th round, but won the round. Kept the momentum going enough in the 8th. And then, Gary was resourceful in the second half of the fight. I thought Hiraoka was better in the second half of the fight than Gary Antuanne. But then Gary Antuanne, even though it turns out the fight was wider on the scorecards, the judges had it 117, 110, 116, 111. But it sounds like a lot of you watching at home thought it was closer than that. And he clutched the 10th round he really needed. And then Andy Hiraoka hit him with a nasty left hand low blow, made the whole audience, especially the fellas, go, ow, that looks like it really hurt. And he got a point taken away. It was a nasty low blow, makes it a 10-8 round. And I said, watching the fight here in press row, that is what just kept Gary Antuanne Russell his title. And he hurt him with a right hook to the body. And he got Hiraoka's attention to the body a few times. The best punch for him was the right hook to the body. So now Hiraoka, knowing he's down and needs to get some get back in those last 2 rounds, he started pressing a lot, and it had more opportunities for Gary Antuanne, who hit him up top with some clean left hands, some combinations. But Hiraoka imposed his power and his will as well. And maybe to some people stole those last 2 rounds or one of those last 2 rounds late, because he finished strong in the last 30 seconds of those rounds with combinations. And to Hiraoka's credit, knowing he was behind and on the road, he pressed. He tried to make something dramatic happen in the late rounds. But Gary Antuanne, a savvy champion, he knew he could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and he wasn't going to allow himself to get stopped late. And was, again, resourceful and tough. And so I had it a little bit closer than the judges, maybe 115, 112 for Gary Antuanne. I thought Hiraoka needed to pick it up in spots. He was very effective in spots at the same time. But he came to America, got here late, and what he got was his American degree tonight that will pay off for him and for future assignments. And he learned here, you're not going to be able to just sucker guys into your left hand. You're not going to be able to just lay that same trap over and over again. You're going to have to initiate. You're going to have to be a little bit more creative. You're going to have a little bit more finesse and fluidity and nuance and subtlety to your game, because I can see Gary Antuanne and Shakur Stevenson telling him, you could fucking fight, you could fucking punch, you understand distance, you're good, you're athletic, but over here we have a little bit of IQ and a little bit of subtlety to our game, and you got to add in a little bit more feints. You got to mix up your punch selection a little bit more. You got to have different looks You got to be able to hold your ground defensively sometimes and not always have to back out, because that's what Andy Hiraoka does. He'll back straight out and then reset. You got to have a little bit more to your game to go along with what is a very good foundation of punching power and good chin. Showed a good chin tonight. Good chin, good power, good athleticism. But hopefully he learns from this fight, and he will be a champion on another night. Bring Andy Hiraoka back to the dance. As for Gary Antuanne Russell, he wasn't able to be his dominant, press forward at all times, volume kind of self, but he did it. He did enough to win and walk out of here with his world title tonight. And it was smart. It was resourceful. Maybe it wasn't that impressive, so to speak. Certainly wasn't dominant, but it did enough to get the job done against a dangerous Malaysian sensation, Japanese fighter. Again, it wasn't some kind of fight of the year candidate, but I enjoyed it. It was a good fight. It was a good title fight, fought at a pretty good level. And bring Andy Hiraoka back. I want to see him fight again in some good title championship level fights. And for Gary Antuanne, he keeps himself in the mix. He holds on to his belt. So that's it. That's all. Time for the main event. Ryan Garcia, Mario Barrios. Check back in after that. Peace.